Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Friday. That, of course, means we're brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Jordan Kitchens, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Hope that work week's in the rearview mirror. If it's not, we will get you to the finish line. Week 0 is upon us. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in hour number 2. Saints and Cowboys tonight from Jerry World. That will be the topic of discussion as well. And we'll get to some LSU football. This is the final weekend before the Lane Kiffin era truly starts next week against Clemson in Tiger Stadium. So lots and lots to get to. Let's start the way we do every day with our opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive. Presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
We're starting with legal stuff. It's, again, not my favorite thing to do, but it is the dominant story of the day. Eventually, we'll start playing football games, and I won't have to worry about it. But I had a couple of interesting conversations last night, so I wanted to share that with you here on this Friday. After I got off the air yesterday, Tony Clayton, the attorney, one of the attorneys representing these 33 athletes, including 16 football players who have filed a temporary restraining order with the NCAA, was on Matt Moscona's show after further review. And he said that they have amended that temporary restraining order to include Greg Sankey and the Southeastern Conference. He believes the initial restraining order included them as they are in concert with the NCAA. But to be more specific, they amended it yesterday. Now, I don't know whether or not the judge has signed that. All we know is that Tony Clayton said yesterday on Matt's show that it had been presented to the judge and was on the judge's desk. We also know that the hearing for the preliminary injunction is next Wednesday. It was supposed to be Monday, been moved back because the Texas trial group wanted it to be moved back, maybe some sort of conflict of interest. Doesn't matter. It's going to be on Wednesday. And then we'll figure out whether or not they are granted that preliminary injunction. And then we'll find out if some of these players start to trickle onto college campuses and onto rosters. Not just at LSU, plenty of places. And I will tell you that over the course of this morning, there have been more temporary restraining orders filed. There have been more commitments by football and basketball players elsewhere that have been involved in professional sports one way or another, whether it's with the G League, whether it's on a two-way contract, whether it's in a mini camp, whether it's in a training camp. I can't keep up at this point. Everybody's pointing at LSU, but I can't keep up with it. So what I was less interested in doing is taking a note every time one of these happened, and everybody in Baton Rouge is all up in arms because Ole Miss took a commitment who played on a G League team and played at Florida. So it's, one, been involved with an NBA team. I don't know whether or not the contract that he signed is prohibitive for him returning or not. I'm not really interested in that. It's not my beat. I don't care. But it would be an intra-conference transfer. So you got that is something that would be breaking SEC rules as well. I keep getting asked, when does this end? When does this end? When does this end? And nobody really knows. Not even the attorneys know. Now, Tony Clayton came on Matt's show yesterday, and that guy's not lacking for confidence at all. Okay? Whether he's right or wrong, I have no idea. But he's not lacking for confidence. And that was evident in what he said on Matt's show yesterday. But I had a conversation last night that brought an interesting end game to this that I have not spent any time talking about on this radio. I think it's been brought up, but it was brought up in earnest to me yesterday by someone at LSU. And the issue that the NCAA or the SEC, maybe both, would have here is if they attempt to punish and keep these players out, what could happen is that this group that is trying to get back in, if they're not allowed back in, they could be subject to some sort of class action suit that could involve a lot of money. So the question might be, hey, do you want to just grant this blanket waiver, let these folks back in, let the collectives and the third-party NIL groups pay these players for 1 year, move them along, and then put this rule in place that everybody seems reasonably intent on following? I realize that could change at the drop of a hat when big sums of money are in, and maybe that's the reason they want to do this, not to open Pandora's box. But maybe you grant that waiver and you let the fifth-year players play, and then you don't have to come back after another lawsuit on top of this and just start cutting millions of dollars of checks for folks that didn't earn what they could have. Because you've already done that once, right? They had to go back when NIL was put into place and pay millions of dollars to athletes that are out of eligibility in retrospect because they were not allowed to make money when they were in college. So do you really want to do that again? I don't know. That is what I continue to tell people that ask me. It's not a great answer for someone who is covering this for a living. I don't know is not a great answer. But when I hear and read on Twitter, and because everybody wants to get involved in this, everybody's got a comment on this. And most of the time it aligns with your rooting interest, which drives me nuts, but that's not the conversation. But when I see attorneys that don't know ultimately who's in charge, and then I see this temporary restraining order that says you can't do that, and then I see this bylaw that says that the SEC can enforce its own rules, and I don't have a great answer for you. What I can tell you is the same thing I said yesterday at one point, is this. I do believe, this is a belief, not a fact, I believe that on Wednesday, these players are going to win, and they're going to get a temporary restraining order. And I believe that a lot of schools around the country are going to take these players in, and I am confident LSU is one of them, that will put these players on the roster if a judge says they can play. And at that point, you are rolling the dice. You are rolling the dice. Because it's possible that at some point down the road, maybe it's after the football season's over, maybe it's far more quickly than that, I don't know. It's possible another ruling could come on top of that erases the initial restraining order, and then the SEC is allowed to issue its punishment. And do you want to make yourself susceptible to that? And here's what I believe. I believe Lane Kiffin and Will Wade will take that risk. That's what I think. I don't know that. I think that. And they're not the only ones. Again, Ole Miss took a commitment today that's iffy. Texas has got a player. I mean, we know all these examples, and there are more that went in today from mini camps and training camps and G Leagues and all this kind of stuff. And the question is, are you willing to roll the dice? I made my point clear yesterday, and I am, by nature, non-confrontational. Lane Kiffin and Will Wade, by nature, confrontational. We'll get in the mix. Absolutely. I am non-confrontational. And my opinion on this is that I would not take the risk. I do not believe that's where LSU will fall on this. But I had not considered yesterday that the NCAA and SEC could also be opening the door to themselves to be handing out enormous sums of money in a class action suit. I told you yesterday that LSU could be in trouble if they play these players and you look at the SEC rule that says you got to forfeit 50% of your budget. That's tens of millions of dollars. I told you yesterday that would terrify me. But I did not yesterday suggest that, hey, you try to keep these folks out and a restraining order says you can't and they don't play and then they come back retroactively as a group and sue you for damages that are now provable because players can get paid and revenue can get shared, you could be on the hook for a major sum of money. Do you want to take that risk? I don't know. There's part of this that's got to be legal advice. There's part of this that's got to be financial advice. And there's part of this that's got to be ego management. There are three lanes here. I don't use that term on purpose. Sometimes you just say something and go, that was kind of a pun. There are three different aspects of this that you've got to consider. The law, the money, and the ego. And I sense that on the ego front, the SEC and Greg Sankey are dug in, and these coaches, not just the LSU coaches, coaches from around the country, want these players. And they're going to dig in too. And so that part of it, I'm comfortable suggesting. You get into the law, I'm not sure. You get into the money, I know this, it's a lot. It's a lot. As Matt has said many times, and this continues to be true, doesn't mean abiding by the law, it doesn't mean equitable in competition, it doesn't mean right or wrong, it just means true. This would have been a lot easier if they granted the fifth-year waiver, but they didn't. Again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. There are people that feel very strongly about professionals, use air quotes, cannot go back to college where they're actually professionals too. People feel strongly about that. And you can feel that way. And there are people that go, hey, they got screwed. And they feel strongly about that. And you can feel that way. But what you cannot argue against is this would have been easier when we're handing out eligibility like the old couple on the corner at Halloween. You could have just stopped all this, and now we've got a situation. We got attorneys that are making money hand over fist, that are billing hours like crazy, that are talking up a storm, that are filing lawsuits, and they're not going to stop because guess what's coming? On Monday, a flood of 40 players per NFL team is about to hit the market. And if you think all of them are going to go, well, I didn't make the Jets, so I guess I'll go sell insurance. Incorrect. Not happening. They're going to go, oh, well, I got two swings at this. I got a potential to go play college where they'll pay me NIL, or I might be able to get involved in a lawsuit that I was wronged for not being able to go back and get cash on that end. Where's my attorney? Oh, you're doing that? Just put me on the list. This is so far from over. So far from over. And again, it's not an LSU story yet, but in the middle of next week, we'll see. And I got a feeling that this is about to just explode. Wild times. Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. Stop on by for lunch. It's perfect time to get on by. Government between Foster and Jefferson. Get you a jumbo shrimp basket. Maybe some of that crispy, clean fried catfish, shoestring fries. Got your coleslaw, hush puppies, honey butter rolls. Got those beignet bites for the kiddos. Awesome spot to get on by. And next week, if you're getting a tailgate on campus and you don't really want to do the cooking thing, it's a little bit hot to get out there on the grill or over the pot when it's 105 degrees, which it will be. Let Corks do the cooking for you. They'll do it. Big trays of shrimp, big trays of catfish, fries. Great, great deal. Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. You can catch them at Government between Foster and Jefferson. The menu's online at corksfishandshrimp.com. We'll talk Saints and Cowboys coming up here in about 15 minutes. When we come back, we'll keep the discussion with LSU next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing, LifetimeRoofingLA.com, LifetimeRoofingLA.com. Use a roofer you can trust. It's important. Because if you're like me, you don't know what's going on above your house. You just know it's important, right? Protects your home, which is for most of us, myself included, your biggest investment. Also, got your family in there. You want to make sure that your roof is in the right shape. I don't know how to tell. You can trust Lifetime Roofing to go up there and check it out. Maybe they'll tell you, yeah, it looks good. Maybe they'll tell you, yeah, you got some damage. We need to do a repair. They might say, look, it's a little bit old. Let's do a tune-up. We'll reinforce that roof. And they might say, yeah, time for a new roof. But they're not just going to sell you a new roof because that's their most expensive product. You can trust them to go up and identify what your situation is, and they'll rectify it. Trust Lifetime Roofing. They got a lifetime workmanship warranty. Financing available. It's 0% for 18 months. It's Lifetime Roofing. Check them out online at lifetimeroofingla.com.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Natural gas from Atmos Energy is a gentle warmth that starts your day. The blue flame that turns simple ingredients into traditions. And the comfort of a shower that never gets cold. Natural gas is the energy that brings your home to life by fueling backyard fun, cozy moments, and bringing people together. Natural gas fuels the moments that make a house a home. Atmos Energy, your natural gas company.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith with Locke Meredith Sean Fagan and Associates. We take great pride in educating our clients about their rights. Whether you're injured at work or while you drive, call our office at 272-5555. Knowledge is power, and you should know your rights after an injury.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan of Locke Meredith Sean Fagan and Associates. When insurance companies have been unfair, we've never been afraid to go to trial. Fighting hard to protect your rights, we never settle a case out of convenience. We only settle when it's right for you. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Every Raising Cane's chicken finger is marinated, battered by hand, and cooked to order to perfection. We don't have heat lamps, because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Friday show is always brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. We'll talk Saints-Cowboys in 15 minutes. For now, we'll steer the conversation to LSU football. Preston Guy, TigerBait.com, is with us. Preston, thanks for the time. How are you, sir?
Hunt, how's it going? Quiet week. I don't know if we'll find something to talk about.
You have a law degree yet?
No, I don't, and I'm not going to pretend I do either. But I do know there is a lot of headlines going around that requires one to understand them.
What's your interest level in all this, and how important do you think it is?
I very much so wish I could say my interest level was zero. However, I don't think it really doing my job if it truly is zero. But, I mean, this is unprecedented times we're talking about. And what basically follows here could set precedent for how things go down in the future. You would hope that this is a one-time issue where, the NCAA implemented the 5-for-5 rule and basically left one class out.
Yep.
But, we've seen the Brendan Sorsby situation where by letter of the law, he was eligible, but we saw that, other bodies of power said, all right, well, we're still going to do other things to punish you because there's nothing that, at least as far as I'm concerned, please understand anybody listening, I am no lawyer.
Nope.
But from my understanding, you don't have to schedule a school. You don't have to put them on your upcoming schedule, and that can make life difficult and unprofitable to operate. I think Georgia was the one who came out and said, well, we're not going to schedule Texas Tech if they're going to play this guy in any sport. There are actions like that eventually can get through to you, and it seems that the actions that the football team is trying to do with adding now 3 players who have signed NFL contracts. Let's say that, and it looks like, the players' lawyers, and a very important distinction. It is not LSU taking legal action. It is representation of the players taking action. And they're looking to move full speed ahead on this, right?
Yep.
And at first my take was, hey, look, you're either the villain or the victim with these situations. Either you go and recruit and bring these players in, or they get used against you. But now it's looking like the SEC is trying to file a motion, and they voted 16-0 to push this motion through.
Yeah.
So it looks like other teams in the conference won't do it. Big Ten looks like they won't be doing it. And the College Football Playoff Committee is looking like they want to ban teams who have done this from participating. So my ultimate takeaway here is I truly ponder, number one, if you don't sign these players, will somebody else actually do it and use them against you? That's to be decided. Number two, is the juice worth the squeeze? Are these players going to be the difference between winning a national championship or not? I don't think so. Maybe they're the difference between, a win or two along the road, but I don't think you're going to go out there and beat, say, Ohio State in the national championship by the closest of margins because, well, Jack Pyburn was in there and, he's a fresh set of legs coming off the bench or whatever. Yep. I just don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth pissing off the entire college football, including your own conference, and the potential consequences. I just don't know if it's worth it at this point.
I'll tell you this: there's some coaches over at LSU that believe it is, and I was told last night that there's such football coaches and college coaches in general are so detail oriented. The thought was that they want to make sure that Xavier Harris is on this team because he's really good at blocking field goals. He blocked 5 at Ole Miss. He's 6'8" and 330 pounds, and he blocks a lot of field goals. And they believe he could win them a game by blocking a field goal. It's like, man, if that's the kind of preparation you're going to put in, that's something. But that's the point I wanted to go to next. Like, I understand you don't think it's worth it, but hypothetically, if these guys were eligible and LSU said, all right, they're playing, let's just talk about on the field. Like, how badly does LSU need Jack Pyburn on the edge, Xavier Harris at defensive tackle, to bring in a new cornerback, which is potentially going to happen as well? Like, are those positions where you feel like they would be greatly improved?
They're big wants. I think even calling it a need is a little stronger than I would go. I mean, certainly you would love to have a nickelback that you can come and rely on, right? That being said, your cornerback 1 and cornerback 2, I feel really good about DJ and PJ at that spot. Edge rusher, man, you definitely would like some depth there, especially, after losing Gabriel Relaford. It would help. I just don't know that, the difference between Pyburn or Dylan Carpenter or Lamar Brown, I don't know that he elevates you significantly. I think it's a good, nice thing to look at. Obviously, defensive tackle, I think Xavier Harris is the one where we're talking about possibly the biggest impact, although I question his fitness.
Yeah. Foot injury on a 330-pound guy can be a problem.
I've also heard that 330 might be a little lighter the number if we might actually be talking about.
Yep.
And then you look at highlights like, that clip of Carson Beck running into the end zone to go to the national championship. You look at him and the fitness was even apparent there. He's on the ground laying down and not popping up and hunting down a very hunt-downable quarterback, Carson Beck, on that play. So I think it'd be helpful. Certainly a huge body. I have no qualms with what you're saying against field goal blocking. That probably is something. And that, it's like adding a kicker. It's like you take a kick away, it's like shaving 3 points off the board. I get it. But we are talking about starting two freshmen at that position.
Yeah.
So certainly adding a, fifth-year guy with the level of experience that he has, that adds a lot. So they all help. They'd all be good. In fact, I would have told people on my show, I bumped the team up from 9-3 to 10-2 because of these guys. But again, I just wonder, if that it's truly actually worth it at the end of the day.
Rustin Guys, our guest, TigerBait.com. I think Tradez is probably a slam dunk answer to this question, so I'll take him off the table as who's next as far as a guy most likely to be first team All SEC on this team.
That's a good question. Very good question. Because I've been saying this to you for months. There's a lot of guys who are good with a chance to be great. But that implies who's going to take that chance. I don't hate Sam Levitt for that answer. Although you said first team All SEC?
Yeah, first team. They'd be a playoff team if he's first team All SEC.
Yeah, first team, especially given Trinidad Chambliss is in the conference and who all's all there. First team might be a tough billing for Sam Levitt. They might have to go undefeated for him to be first team all SEC. I'm just trying to think here because the receivers are going to get spread pretty evenly. You said offense?
Anywhere. Like I'm thinking Ty Benefield, I'm thinking DJ Pickett, I'm thinking Jordan Seaton. Those are probably the ones that come to mind quickly.
Yeah. Seaton, Whit Weeks is definitely up there. DJ Pickett. Yeah, those are the ones. Yeah, I'd say those guys have the best chance.
How are we feeling about? You said you picked them 10-2. What's your confidence level that this team is a playoff team with that schedule?
Yeah. So here's the thing. I know a 9-3 team hasn't made it yet, but we've also seen a long history of people yapping and complaining. And when it comes to subjective eyes looking at something, they will eventually consider those. I think LSU's got the kind of schedule where, I mean, you've got 6 teams on this schedule where if they have a strong schedule, they could be in the top 25. Now, that includes teams like Clemson having a little bit stronger finish than we might expect. But you've got, 4 top 13 teams on your schedule. There's a legitimate chance you end up playing 4 top 10 teams, which means if you go anything like 9-3, you've at least beat one of those teams and then a really good Tennessee team on the road. I think this schedule has the makings of giving you a shot to make the playoffs at 9-3. It has the makings of it, and we'll see how the committee feels about it because thus far, all they look at is that loss column, and they plug you in. It doesn't matter if you're playing in the ACC, Big 12, SEC. Yeah. If you're 10-2 and they're 9-3, see ya. But,
unless Jordan Travis is your quarterback and he gets hurt, at that point they may pull the rug out from under you.
12-0, right?
Interestingly enough, Preston, here's a thought, and this is conspiracy theory-esque, but that's what kind of time of year it is. College basketball and college football are now subjective sports. A committee gets in there and debates things subjectively. They give an opinion and they set the field. If Jack Pyburn and Daquan Wright play for this team, and LSU goes 10-2 or goes 9-3, and there's a legitimate shot they can get in, but the committee says, well, I don't like that they used pro players, leave them out, put the other team. Like, do you think there's a risk of LSU's reputation harming itself come playoff time?
But here's the deal, okay? If it's on the fence, if you're on the bubble, of course, no. I mean, we've already seen reports come out that they are considering banning teams from participating with NFL players. And the only reason that LSU would pursue that is because they've gotten legal clearance to say, no, that's illegal, right? So legally, you're in a position, if LSU goes 13-0 and wins the SEC, obviously they can't just say, this is assuming the legal situation goes down the way it might. They can't just say, well, we're going to leave them out. They are, if you have an auto bid or very obviously an at-large, I don't think it'll matter. However, if you're on the bubble like 9-3, I not only would feed into that conspiracy, I would say that's probably the most likely outcome if they will not get any favor from the voters.
People are going to be taking risks on one side or the other here when this decision's made next Thursday. We'll see. Preston, we appreciate the time. Enjoy some football this weekend. We'll talk next week.
Oh, man, I forgot there's actual football to
there
be played.
Is.
Wow. Yeah.
See you, Preston.
All right, talk to you soon.
He's Preston Guy, TigerBait.com. We're brought to you by Fabry Chevrolet GMC, online at FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com. Head up Highway 61 today or tomorrow and get incredible deals on a new truck, because then if you don't, they'll be done, because we've been telling you about it all August long. Incredible deals on 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500s. We've got 0% APR financing for 5 years plus no monthly payment for 90 days if you go today or tomorrow. 2026 GMC Sierra 1500s, 2.9 APR financing for the next 72 months plus an additional $1,500 in allowance today or tomorrow. And they've also got an amazing selection of pre-owned vehicles that'll fit any budget. So check that out at FabryChevrolet.com. Suggest you go by and see them, Highway 61 in St. Francisville, but the entire inventory is there at FabryChevrolet.com. That's an interesting thing that we talked about at the end with Preston that I considered yesterday at one point. You're in a subjective world when you start talking about this college football playoff and you start talking about the NCAA basketball tournament. And if you want to push the envelope and then that committee gets in a room and you're on a bubble somewhere and they don't like the fact that you used an illegal player in their eyes, does that matter? Like, I don't know the answer to the question. But I'm asking it. I'm asking. Like, it's again, somebody's taking risks somewhere. It's the players. It's the coaches taking the players. It's the conference enacting punishments that may not be upheld by the law. It's the NCAA. Like, somebody's taking risks somewhere. And it's, can I be honest? It's a bummer. I just don't want to talk about it. I think LSU can be made better with a 6'8" guy that can block field goals and a fifth-year defensive end who makes a lot of tackles against the run and a second tight end who's an established player that can play on the line of scrimmage and a cornerback that has 4 years of experience in college. Like, LSU can be made better, but at what cost? That's really the question. And I don't know that it matters to Lane Kiffin or Will Wade. I think that they would stop in the middle of that statement. LSU can be made better. Stop. At what cost does it? They just shove that to the side. LSU can be made better. That's what we're going to do. It's wild times. We'll get to kickoff. We will get to kickoff one way or another. Let's come back and talk about another kickoff, Saints-Cowboys tonight next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
GoTro's Outdoor Power. GoTro's Outdoor Power. GoTrosOnline.com is the website. Fantastic deals in August. And just like I told you a little bit earlier, August is about to be over. So if you want to get phenomenal deals from GoTros, you need to go today or you need to go tomorrow to one of their two locations, Airline in Baton Rouge or in Gonzales, and check it out. Summer clearance sale up to $1,000 off select Gravely, Skag, and Hustler zero-turn mowers, as well as 0% financing available. So if you need a new zero-turn mower, one place to go. GoTro's Outdoor Power. Airline in Baton Rouge. You're driving on Airline, you look over and you see that mountain of orange inventory. It's the most Hustler inventory in the state of Louisiana. Go by and see them and get amazing deals in their summer clearance sale. Maybe stop by the Gonzales location as well. National Hustler Dealer of the Year, 2 of the last 3 years at GoTros. Check them out online at GoTrosOnline.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the new Ram 1500 truck on our lot now with $22,000 off MSRP.
Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
I've been in banking for over 35 years. I usually start about 7:30 in the morning, and I usually leave somewhere around 5, or if customers need me to meet them at their house or their business places, I don't mind going after hours. I have done churches, subdivisions, retail centers, hospitals, and nursing homes. And that's why we chose to live in this community, because of the values First American Bank has, that I can serve my community and my customers.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com is the website. I don't care that you go to the website. I mean, you can. It's a great website. But why don't you go to Swing Easy Golf Club? That's where you need to be. It's the weekend. Time to knock off of work and involve some golf. You're going, wait a second. It's 108 degrees outside. I don't want to play golf. I don't have 5 hours. Well, you don't need 5 hours to play 18 holes at Swing Easy Golf Club. You need like 45 minutes if you're by yourself. And it's indoors. And they got cold beer. And they got tunes and comfortable seating. Make a Friday night of it. Go by Swing Easy, 4 buddies, play Pebble Beach, take on TPC Sawgrass. I've had so much fun in my times over at Swing Easy Golf Club. You can as well. If you've never played simulator golf, it's a great time. If you want to watch some football tomorrow while you're hitting some golf shots, head over to Swing Easy. They're on Segan at Perkins. They got TVs in each individual bay, comfortable couches, ice chest full of drinks right there at your feet. Awesome place to hang out. Go by and see them. Segan at Perkins, Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. All right, Saints and Cowboys tonight from Jerry World. I candidly don't know the Cowboys backup very well. Did not know what that roster was looking like on the back end. So I walked over to our resident Cowboys expert in the producer's bay. I said, Taylor, who's playing quarterback for the Cowboys tonight? He goes, and I had no idea what he was going to say. He could have said somebody I knew very well. He could have said somebody I have no idea. But obviously, they're not going to play Dak. So who's playing quarterback tonight? He goes, probably Joe Milton. I go, Joe Milton? That rules. I want to watch Joe Milton throw the ball 80 yards. Preseason games, especially the third one, not the best watch. I think we're all on the same page there. A lot of guys who are about to get cut. But Joe Milton throws it far, and I want to see him hum it. So I'll be watching Joe Milton tonight, but honestly, we'll pay closer attention to the Saints. So let's talk about what the Saints have to show tonight. Kellen Moore made it evident that most of the starters, if not all of the starters, will be held out of this game, and I'm fine with that. I said early last week I'd like to see the starters play, and I would like to see the starters go out there and get a couple of series. I think that would be good, but I'm certainly not going to blame a coaching staff that has had a team riddled with preseason injuries protecting their guys. I think it's fine. It's one of those things I don't have a strong stance on. You want to put your guys out there for 2 series? I think that's good. I think it's good to get them out there, get some rhythm. You want to protect them, put them in street clothes? I think that's fine. I would have a strong opinion if you told me they were playing 4 quarters. But you tell me they're not playing at all, fine. You tell me they're playing a quarter, fine. You tell me they're playing 2 drives, fine. Risk, reward, whatever. They're not going to play. Okay, so what are we watching? Well, Zamir White's probably going to play a little bit, and that's a guy you've brought in to help out a crippled running back group. He's 4 years in. Got some ability, and I'd like to see him run a little bit. We've seen some of these Saints running backs in the preseason pop a little bit. You saw the big run that Ty Chandler made on the kickoff. Kendre Miller's finally healthy and playing a little bit. Audric Estime had his moments. Of course, he's now hurt and not going to play, and then they bring in Zamir White, and I'd like to see what he can do. So we'll be watching Zamir White in this game. They brought him over from San Francisco in the trade. So he's a fast dude. He's got 4.4 speed and some explosiveness. So maybe you get him out on the field and see what he can do as a new toy for you in the background. Ross Jackson wrote about Mike Heldman on LouisianaSports.net and his potential spot on the roster. Heldman has undoubtedly had a very good camp. He's been productive in these games as well. Every media member that we've talked to has mentioned Heldman at one point or another as a guy that's fighting. He's just at a bad spot, right? Because you've already got Chase Young. You've already got Carl Granderson. Cam Jordan is going to be on the team. He's hurt right now, but certainly going to make this roster. And then the Saints went out and used assets to go get Anthony Jennings and Tyree Wilson on the edge. So they have a lot of players at those spots. That's part of the deal in the NFL. Like sometimes it's just how well you play, and sometimes it's a function of what the roster looks like ahead of you or behind you. And Heldman just had a lot of headwind against him with you've got 3 entrenched veterans at the position, and then 2 very talented edge players right behind them. So you're fighting an uphill battle. Ross wrote about him and said that he'll be auditioning for the Saints, but he'll also be auditioning for other teams because he could be a roster casualty coming up at the end of the weekend. But look, 2 sacks and a tackle for loss in the first preseason game. Played well against the Rams. Could he potentially be a guy that could make the roster? We'll see. Ross also wrote about Easton Kilty. there is a spot open on the Saints roster and subsequently the practice squad because everybody moves up a level when Dylan Radins goes down, right? So he's out for the year. That was a guy that was going to make the team, that was going to be a swing guy. And so can Kilty become one of those options on the active roster, or could he potentially remain on the practice squad, or could he, be auditioning for other teams? I think it's interesting to see what comes of Easton Kilty. I don't know that that's a spot on the roster that necessarily dictates if the Saints are an 11-win team or a 5-win team, but this is what we have. We're looking at the low 50s of the roster, 50, 51, 52, 53, and then onto the practice squad, and Kilty's probably in that discussion. At least that's what Ross wrote at LouisianaSports.net, and Ross has been all over it. So those are three guys, and then obviously maybe the easiest thing to watch, and maybe the most important thing to watch, if we're being honest, is how these quarterbacks play. Like, you saw Rattler. I thought Rattler was awful in the Jacksonville game. I thought he played really poorly. I thought he was significantly worse than the stat line suggested. He hit some passes late on some checkdowns. He was like 8 of 11 in that game, but the turnover was heinous. He got lost in the pocket. It was a whiffed block. I get it. It wasn't like good job up front either, but like he turned his back to the field and then got hit and dropped the ball. Like, it was awful. And he was inaccurate on his first couple throws. Like I did not think Rattler played well, but I did think that Wilson played well in that Jacksonville game. And then you come into the second game against the Rams, and both guys stunk out loud. Like, yeah, you did mount some drives, and then you had some turnovers, but throw a pick six, the completion percentage numbers were low. It's just, I thought they were both awful. And they need to play better, and you need to figure out who your backup is. Keep in mind, in the Sean Payton era, they did a good job of making sure the backup quarterback was ready to play. Drew Brees didn't get hurt a lot early, but late, he missed some time. And Teddy Bridgewater came in, and the Saints won games. They won games with Taysom Hill playing quarterback after Brees got hurt. And with Jameis Winston as your backup, you had a nice insurance policy there of at least a guy that, yeah, he might throw a pick or two, but he can go in there and operate an offense. He can make some plays for you. I'm looking at these two backups, and I don't think the Saints' backup situation is a very good one. And I would suggest that if Shuck gets hurt for 6 weeks, the Saints' season is probably off the rails, and a lot of teams would be off the rails if their starting quarterback missed 6 weeks. A lot of teams are in that position. But being a team that's not in that position is a good thing. And I just don't know that the Saints have a strong backup right now. My preference would be that Zach Wilson wins that job. I think he's got a little bit more upside. I think he's got a little bit more ability to win games. But there are different types of backups, right? You got the 39-year-old former starter journeyman. You've got the rookie who was a fairly high draft pick, like you had last year with Shuck, or like you had the year before with Rattler. You've got the washout, which Wilson is, and the Saints don't have a proven commodity there. You've got a washout and a former a mid-round pick, I should say, that's young, and it just doesn't look very good. Somebody's got to take the reins of that. We hope Shuck plays 17 games. But I'm not asking for Nick Foles. I'm not asking for Tom Brady. I'm asking for a functional quarterback. And Rattler hasn't looked functional in either of the preseason games, and Wilson did not in the last one. It's not a great position to be in. You're playing with a bunch of undrafted free agents that are going to get cut. Some of the offensive linemen struggle. You don't have NFL caliber wide receivers, but you're also playing against guys that are going to get cut. Somebody needs to step up and take the reins. I'm not suggesting these 4 quarters will tell the entire story. You got practices, and these guys are getting reps elsewhere, but these are the brightest lights. And it's time for somebody to step up, and that's an easy thing to watch. Do you want to watch Easton Kilty and how he performs on the offensive front? That's not something that's really easy to watch or any fun to watch. The quarterbacks are pretty easy to observe. And so I'll certainly keep an eye on both of those guys. I'm hopeful that Wilson wins that job. But Rattler has some starting experience as well, and has been in this offense longer than Wilson. So we'll see. But Saints and Cowboys tonight from Jerry World, and then we'll have 2 weeks before the Saints actually get things started up in Detroit. We'll be watching tonight. Joe Milton going to throw a ball really far. I'm hopeful. He's going to throw it really fast. I know that. You're looking for anything. It's the preseason. Saints and Cowboys tonight from Arlington. All right, we'll come back and close out hour number 1 next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com, HighlandIG.com. It is storm season, and we know this is the most intense time of storm season. And right now, you have an opportunity to get that policy looked at to make sure it's in the proper shape. The wrong time to look at that policy is after the storm blows through, and you've got building damage, and your power's not going to be on for 5 days. Can you work? Well, if you can't, do you have business interruption insurance? Has your building been properly evaluated? Are you going to face co-insurance penalties? What's your deductible? Is it in line with your risk appetite? If you haven't checked these things and you just know what you pay for your property insurance, contact the Highland Insurance Group. John and the Carver's team are experts at reading these policy forms and making sure your insurance program is where it needs to be. And in this part of the world, this time of year, you need your property policy in line with your risk appetite and what you prefer it to look like. But if you don't know, let the Highland Insurance Group do it. They're here in Baton Rouge. They can help you out statewide. It's the Highland Insurance Group. Find them online at HighlandIG.com.
Bayou Ford has 0% APR with no payments for 90 days and $1,000 down payment assistance on select 2026 Ford models.
Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product's always customer satisfaction. Come visit us at reliefwindows.com. By the way, we do shutters too.
Raising Cane's Texas Toast is a thick slice of bread, garlic buttered spread, grilled to golden perfection, and made to order just for you. Because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
People ask why I chose to partner with Parrish. The answer is simple: trust. Whether you're choosing teammates, business partners, or the people working on your home or business, choose a company you know and trust. Visit parrishbuilt.com.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service and partner with only the best providers. So check them out online today at lainsurance.net.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Chugging along here on a Friday. I hope that work week's in the rearview mirror. If it is not, we will certainly get you there here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. I'm looking forward to the weekend. Looking forward to watching a little bit of football, watch a little bit of the Saints this evening, and I'll lock in for a little bit of week 0 tomorrow. We'll talk about that in hour number 2. I saw a list this week on ESPN.com that I wanted to touch on briefly. It's the top 100 players in the nation, according to ESPN in college football. And I was looking at it for through one lens. I was looking at it for LSU players and Clemson players. And all offseason long, we've been looking at these lists of top 100 transfers and mock drafts and all these different lists and seeing how underrepresented Clemson appeared based on the last 15 years of our history here. And I find that they're underrepresented on this one too. Clemson on the top 100 players in the nation, and this doesn't mean they're right, but I mean it's just it's a groupthink and guys that are plugged into college football. It's put together by ESPN staff. They don't have a player in the top 38. Clemson doesn't. One of the top 38 players in the country. LSU's got 3: Benefield at 38, Levitt at 37, and Seton at 34. So the only 3 players that Clemson has on this list of top 100 players is Braden Jacobs at 91 on the offensive line, Will Helt at 87 on the edge, who had a nice year for them as a Purdue transfer that had a good year last year for Clemson, and then Sammy Brown, their linebacker, at 39. He's the best player on the team. Ton of tackles last year. But like linebacker, edge rusher, offensive line, 3 guys in the top 100 players in college football. I mean, it's not that long ago that Clemson had Trevor Lawrence and T. Higgins and Travis Etienne and A.J. Terrell and like studs that were going to be first, second round picks in the NFL draft. They had Sammy Watkins and Nuke Hopkins and Deshaun Watson, and they had Taj Boyd and C.J. Spiller, and like they've had headline players throughout the Sweeney era. And like last year, you had some star power with Cade Klubnik, who would have been on this list. And with 3 wide receivers who probably make this list that none of it, and one of them went to the NFL, 2 are still on the team, and they didn't make this list. You had 2 defensive linemen that would have been on this list last year that ended up going in the first round. And Clemson just doesn't appear to have the high-end talent. And they don't go get it out of the portal. I mean, looking at the names on this list for LSU, you've got Prince Williamon at 80, Whit Weeks at 41, Trey'Dez Green at 49, Ty Benefield at 38, Sam Levitt 37, and Jordan Seton at 34. Benefield, Levitt, Seton, Prince Will, that's 4 transfers in the top 80. And then you got Whit and Trey'Dez who round out the list. I don't know, man. I mean, it feels more and more as I continue to like research this and crowdsource and look at Twitter and look at these lists and ESPN and CBS Sports and Yahoo and whoever's got a mock draft or a list or a commentary or a conference prediction or whatever the case may be. I just get no juice from Clemson. I don't get any juice. And that just feels weird. And so there's like 2 schools of thought. Either everyone is right here and they don't have first-round picks on that roster and they don't have high-end transfers on that roster and they're going to look a lot like they did last year, or Dabo is going to prove everybody wrong. And like, what's the more likely outcome there? Everybody else who's watching this, that's watching Indiana bring in tons of transfers and win a national championship, that's watching Lane Kiffin take a ton of transfers and bring Ole Miss all the way to the top of the sport right there at the end of the semifinal, that Miami, who's spending gobs of money on transfers that bring in or in the national final in the fourth quarter? Or is it Dabo, who says we don't really care to do that and we don't care about NIL. Our program's going to be in the name, image, and likeness of Christ. And that's certainly not against the rules, and it's a perfectly reasonable thing to say, but it's also reasonable for me to say you probably need to pay your players and you probably need to take some transfers that are in the top 100 players in the country. It just doesn't look good. No wide receivers on the list. No DBs on the list. No quarterback on the list. I got a Clemson guy, came on the show yesterday. Covers the team, radio-wise, from the upstate. Said he's been around Clemson his whole life. How's the confidence level? Low. How's the quarterback? Doesn't seem like he's very good. Huh? Everybody's optimistic in August. Everybody. It's August. It's optimism season. Every recruit you got is going to blossom into a star. Everybody that was on the field last year is going to be better. Best shape of his life. This coordinator is going to be a hot shot hire. He's going to change the whole thing. Like everybody does this all around the country. There is a team right now that's going to go 2-7 in the SEC that thinks their team is damn good. And nobody thinks Clemson's any good. Davo's going to go to that microphone a week from tomorrow, post-game, and he's either going to say, see, y'all are idiots, I'm right. Or he's going to field 11 questions from angry beat writers going, why don't you catch up here? You've let this program dissolve into nothing. It's going to be one of the two. I guess if LSU kicks a last-second field goal and wins, it won't feel like that. But if Clemson wins, he's going to point his finger, and if LSU wins by 2 or 3 scores, he's going to get roasted. And these are just fuel to the fire, these lists, every time I look at them. Crazy stuff. That's hour number 1 on a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We'll take a time out for SportsCenter. Come back with more Week 0 talk. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Boudreaux's Electrical Services. BoudreauxElectrical.com is the website. Neil and Melissa have been rocking and rolling for 40 years at Boudreaux's Electrical Services. If you don't have a Generac home standby generator, the question is why? And do you sleep okay knowing that your power might go out next time that storm blows through? Such a bad feeling. We've all had it. If you live in this part of the world, you've had the feeling of that power going out in August. It's miserable. It's dark. It's hot. You got to leave. But if you have that Generac home standby generator that's been installed by Boudreaux's Electrical Services, then you don't have to worry about that. Air conditioning keeps humming. Fridge keeps rolling. Lights stay on. You stay put. It's also a deflating feeling when you're in the house next door that doesn't have the generator and the one next door does, and your power goes out and it's quiet, and then that generator powers on and you know that your neighbors are comfy and you're not. Change that with Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Give them a call. Same number they have had forever. 985-397-1562 or 225-300-9389. That's Boudreaux's Electrical Services.
When a capital project moves from planning to execution, downtime isn't an option. Who do you trust to deliver? River Parish Contractors has more than 500 employees, dedicated safety, quality, and project management teams, and 9 full-time estimators backed by a 36,000 square foot automated pipe and structural steel fabrication facility. We can deliver multi-million-dollar industrial construction projects on time and safely. Locally owned and headquartered in South Louisiana. We're River Parish Contractors, and we're built for bigger challenges.
People think it's all about game day. Let's go! But the real work happens in the off season.
Spring practices, early lifts, extra reps.
And we need a healthcare team that works as hard as we do.
At FMOL Health, our lay of the lake, we take care of LSU football year-round.
So we can do what we do best.
We trust the lake.
From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
Raising Cane's Texas Toast is a thick slice of bread, garlic buttered spread, grilled to golden perfection, and made to order just for you. Because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product's always customer satisfaction. Come visit us at reliefwindows.com. By the way, we do shutters too.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the new Ram 1500 truck on our lot now with $22,000 off MSRP.
Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
My name is Mike Krumholt, and I've been with First American Bank for 4 years. What makes First American Bank special is we're able to offer all the products and services that any other big bank can offer. What sets us apart is being able to give that small town feel that someone can pick up the phone and they can talk to someone or stop by the branch and get excellent customer service.
Eagle 98.1, the rock station. Home of the Woody Show in the morning. Scotty Mack with Rock at Work. Michelle Southern with Southern Rock. Home of LSU sports since 1998. And rock for Baton Rouge since 1985. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. To join our VIP fan club, text ROCK to 225-499-9898. Eagle 98.1, the Rock Station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm John Ryder. There are 10 more NFL preseason games tonight. As for last night, the 49ers with an 18-12 victory over the Raiders in Las Vegas. Number one overall pick, Fernando Mendoza, went 7 of 14 passing. With no touchdowns and 1 pick, was also sacked twice. He started. Kirk Cousins backed him up and was an efficient 8 of 11 for 51 yards. Raiders head coach Clint Kubiak on his team heading into the season.
I love our guys. I love how hard they work. I love how mature they are. I love how important the game is to them, how important playing for the silver and black is to them. And, can't wait to go on this journey with them for the next 17 weeks in a row.
The Raiders open the season on Sunday, September 13th, hosting the Dolphins. Clint Kubiak still hasn't announced his starting quarterback for Week 1. Among the 10 games on tonight's slate, the Saints take on the Cowboys in Arlington. The Giants go up against the Jets. Packers running back Josh Jacobs has been charged with misdemeanor battery and misdemeanor criminal damage to property, according to Wisconsin court records. Baseball, Cubs lead the Reds 1-0 in the second inning at Wrigley.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman, and coming up Monday, the NFL season hasn't even started, but it's never too early to check in on every fan base's anxiety level. It's on SportsFan, like 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Last hour of the week for us. I hope that work week's in the rearview mirror. If not, we will get you to the finish line right here. Week 0, college football we're talking about. A little bit of housekeeping before we get into that, though. Our schedule here on the station changed a little bit during football season on Mondays. Lane Kiffin's press conference will air beginning at noon coming up on Monday, so that will bump Live at Lunch to 10 a.m. So you'll have OTB 7 to 10. Then you'll have Live at Lunch 10 to noon. At noon, we will toss it over to Chris Blair, Gordy Rush for the intro to Lane Kiffin's press conference. We will carry Lane Kiffin's press conference here live. Once he is done, we estimate that probably be about 12:45, about 15 minutes of intro from Chris and Gordy, then Lane for 30. We'll take a break, come back. I will take you from that point at like 12:45 into my show at 1 o'clock and then up to 3 o'clock. So we will have all live and local from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. every single Monday, with Live at Lunch bumping back to 10 o'clock, except the next week, which is Labor Day. So we'll do that on Tuesday. But that's confusing for everybody. So just generally speaking, Mondays, Live at Lunch will bump up to 10 o'clock. So I just wanted to pass along if you're interested in hearing Lane Kiffin speak at about 12:15 every Tuesday. You'll catch that here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. In the next segment, so in 12 minutes or so, I'm going to go through LSU's schedule game by game, all 12 of them, and assign a winner or loss. So you want to hear about that as you're waiting in the carpool line or whatever the case may be, hang with us for another 12 minutes, and I'll get into that in our next segment. Right now, I want to talk a little bit about Week 0. This is for the football junkies out there, the college football junkies. Chris Marler's tweeting up a storm out there saying how much he loves Fridays for college football season. I feel like this is very much an appetizer here. This is not something I'm going to dig into in a main course. Like the big prime rib is coming up next week with Week 1, with LSU and Clemson, with all the fanfare that goes into that. This is the boudin balls they pass around right when you walk into the wedding. Just grab one, pop it in. Good, but you really want that prime rib station at the end, right? So I'll watch some of this. I doubt you'll see me take in a game in its entirety, but I'll check in. I'll check in on North Carolina TCU from Ireland. I'll check in on NC State, Virginia at 2:30. And I'll probably check in for a little bit of Hawaii and Stanford. You're probably not going to catch me grinding Memphis UNLV unless everybody in my house is asleep and I'm still up and poured a cocktail or something. I might flip over. My allegiance on Saturday, y'all are going to get really mad at this. Sometimes I say things and I know y'all are listening and you're going to get cranky with me and you're going to go, you're an idiot. And I apologize when that happens. I don't mean to do it, but it's just the way I feel. The Cubs are going to get my allegiance right now. We're in a pennant race. I got to lock in on Cubs Reds all 3 games this weekend. Right now I'm locked in afternoon game. That'll take precedence if I'm able to get the TV, which Blippy may be on my TV for all I know. But I'll catch some of this stuff over the course of the weekend. I just think everybody is going to be on TCU tomorrow. It's got to be. Because nobody believes in the soap opera that's going on in Chapel Hill. I just don't think anybody believes they're going to be worth a flip. I can't tell you anything about Sonny Dykes' team at TCU. Not a thing. Jack Besh is gone. That's all I got. But everybody's going to be on TCU to cover this, which makes me think the North Carolina plus 9.5 might be the play here. I think there's going to be a lot of action on this game because it's the only P5 game outside of NC State, Virginia, and it's early. It's got its own window at 11 o'clock. I'll catch some of that. North Carolina's uniforms are sweet. TCU's are usually atrocious. But I kind of think that North Carolina is the play to cover that. Jordan, I don't know if you were paying attention to my guy Jimmy when he was talking today. I'm confident they picked this game. Is he zigging when everybody's zagging, or is he going to take TCU and lay the points?
Nobody's believing in Belichick. Nobody. I mean, what is there to believe in at this point?
Well, that's how you handicap. Right, everybody's going one way. You zig the other way. You take 9.5 points.
That is a lot of points, but it's also like they haven't shown you anything to believe in. His girlfriend's basically calling the plays. Like, I don't know what's going on.
He got the general manager suspended. He got in trouble.
Yeah, I'm about to say Michael Lombardi was getting caught up with it's a whole bunch.
This was a bad. North Carolina's got a lot of bad ideas. It's a bad idea to hire Mac Brown when he's 100. It's a bad idea to hire Bill Belichick when he's 100. It's a bad idea to hire Hubert Davis just because he was sitting next to Roy Williams.
How you feel about Mike Malone now?
That's a better idea.
Okay.
He at least has some quality basketball acumen. He's been a successful NBA coach. He should be able to handle things. And with recruiting now, it's more about the NIL, and they should be able to get that scrounged up there.
Pro approach for that.
But they make a lot of bad decisions over there at North Carolina. I don't bet, but I do pick games. If you made me pick this one, I would hold my nose and take North Carolina because everybody else is on the other side. But maybe TCU beats them by 1,000. But TCU hadn't been good since they got waxed in the national championship game.
You know what? It's funny because, that too. And when Colorado exposed them whatever that year, 2023 or whatever, they never recovered from that. But
I'll tell you what my better picks are.
Okay.
Because I'm awful when we get into SEC play. This is well established. We're going to keep up with all the SEC picks this year too. It's well established. But I am pretty good at picking the lopsided pre-conference games.
Okay.
And I'm telling you that they think USC has got this thing figured out a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know anything about San Jose State. But if Lincoln Riley does have this figured out a little bit, at least on the offense, the line's 38.5 against San Diego State. What do we think they're going to score? 55? They usually do, right?
They usually do.
So is San Diego State score 20 points? I don't think so.
I don't think so. Not against USC.
That seems like a line I would lay those points with USC. Just these offensive coaches. One of my surefire go-tos when I was getting those pick'ems, when Dan Mullen was at Mississippi State, and they would go kind of fast, and they could score some points with Dak or with Nick Fitzgerald. Those guys.
Yes.
He would beat the brakes off Western Kentucky, beat the brakes off Rice, crush Florida Atlantic or whoever. They'd score 60. I would always take Mississippi State in those games. Lincoln Riley's kind of got those vibes for me as well. I think that laying the points with that against San Jose State, who I candidly don't know anything about. I can't name a player in the history of San Jose State football. I don't think.
Only one I could think of was that nice receiver a couple years back. I think his name was Nick Marsh.
Nope.
Or that wasn't.
I got Nick Marshall, former quarterback at Auburn. And DB at Georgia.
I might be saying the wrong guys. I know they had a receiver a couple years back that was really good.
But I would lay the points with Lincoln Riley in that one. And then you got NC State and Virginia. Virginia is well coached. NC State, Doran's done a good job there as well. It's a short number for that. Piques my interest as a real football game. I'm not the football junkie. You're just simply not going to see me lock in on Sacramento State, Eastern Michigan because it's on. My guy Jacob Hester, he's putting it on.
Oh, Jimmy's putting it on.
Jimmy's putting it on. Marler's putting it on.
Yeah.
They're putting it on. I'm not watching Sacramento State play Eastern Michigan. I'm not watching Florida State beat New Mexico State by 1 billion either in what is going to be one of Mike Norvell's final games as the Florida State head coach. He's not making it to Halloween.
Yeah, it's over.
That thing's way over. But NC State, Virginia, that's a real game. I can watch that. I can put that on. I can watch that. That's going to come in the middle of Cubs time. But we'll make it work, and I'll check it out. But that's a conference game, and it's weird to play a conference game in week 0. It's weird. But I like the fact that it's a tight spread. I like the fact that it's a league game. I'll check that out at 2:30 on ESPN. I don't have a play because I don't know. I feel like I have a reasonable expectation of the coaches in the North Carolina State TCU game and in the San Jose State USC game. I don't. I think these two teams are both remarkably ACC average, so I would probably just take the points.
And North Carolina State has an actual quarterback. Like CJ Bailey's not a scrub, so they actually have a decent quarterback at play. But I'm just mad you're sleeping on my favorite game of week 0.
Oh God!
Oh, the Memphis and UNLV, the nightcap. Oh, I love that game.
Here's the deal. I am in a pick'em. My 2 college roommates went to Memphis.
Okay.
I am in it, and I am in their pick'em with all their high school buddies. So we have to pick the Memphis game every week.
Oh Lord!
So I'm always well aware of what they're doing. I usually don't pick Memphis.
Yeah.
Because I think all of them are going to pick Memphis because they all went to SEC schools. They all went to LSU or Bama or Tennessee or Georgia or Ole Miss. But they all like Memphis. It's the hometown team, whatever. So they all like Memphis. They always take Memphis. Well, I go the other way. So if Memphis doesn't cover, I'm in good shape. And I think Dan Mullen is a really good coach. He's a really good coach. So that's 4.5. I think I laid the number with UNLV, and they'll all be taking Memphis. Although and they'll all definitely be on Memphis now because they hated Silverfield, who's now at Arkansas. They thought he was terrible. So I think they'll definitely be on Memphis with the new coach. I'll take Dan Mullen.
Oh, I'm on UNLV simply because for 2 things. Number one,
they probably got an NIL budget. I know Memphis has FedEx, so they've got some money too.
Well, the new head coach, Huff. A lot of my friends went to Southern Miss, so they hate him because he just up and left Southern Miss and went to Memphis.
Okay.
And also, a lot of people forget, but we talked about it, take it or leave it a couple months back. Brian Kelly, he's on the Memphis coaching staff now, like the advisor or something like that.
That's no good.
Oh yeah, so I'm all in on UNLV. Let's get this Brian Kelly hate train rolling. I can't wait to watch this.
Did your friends have fun at Southern Miss?
Honestly, Hunt, I went out there one time to it was at Hattiesburg, of course, at Southern Miss at. Went out there. I can't remember what game I went to. I think they played like Prairie View or something like that in the beginning of the season. It's actually a low key. It's pretty okay. It's a pretty okay spot.
I went to the regional in 2022 on that Sunday. Hattiesburg wasn't doing it
like
for me.
Hattiesburg. No, I mean you're in Mississippi. Let's be honest. Like, I know it might be Mississippi people listen to it. Like Mississippi, let's call Mississippi what it is.
Louisiana throwing shots.
Yeah, I ain't gonna look. Shout out Mississippi, but Hattiesburg, it ain't all that. But like the environment, I was surprised by the environment. It's a lot more lively than I thought.
It was the end of June, middle of June, and I walked out of that AstroTurf field, and I thought I was going to melt into the turf. It was so hot on that field. We went down for pregame. It was 1 billion degrees. I was glad to get up to the press box after that. And then LSU got beat, which was not great. And I had to drive back.
Lord.
Had to drive back on a Sunday night really late, and that was not fun. But they won the national championship the next year, so we'll take it. All right, let's come back. I'm going to pick every LSU game, 12 of them. We'll see how they do next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First, let me tell you about Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Online at FabryChevrolet.com. That's FabryChevrolet.com. Go check them out. They've got an incredible group of deals on trucks. But they run out this weekend. So you got to go now or you got to go tomorrow if you want to get these incredible deals. Chevy Silverado, the 2026 versions. 0% APR financing for 5 years plus no monthly payments for 90 days. 3 months, no payments when you buy that Chevy Silverado from Fabry Chevrolet GMC. If you want a GMC Sierra, gorgeous truck, 2026 version of those, 2.9 APR finance for 72 months plus an additional $1,500 in allowance. Got to go by today or tomorrow, though, to make those deals good. If you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle, they've got one to meet every single budget that you have. Go to the website, FabryChevrolet.com, and sort by the price, sort by the mileage, sort by make and model. You'll see what they've got in the inventory that fits your exact specifications. Great customer service, great new location, Highway 61 in St. Francisville. It's Fabry Chevrolet GMC.
I'm Billy Schmidt, and I've been with First American Bank for 13 years. I have a passion of getting to know customers, getting to know their journeys, getting to know their stories, and being a small part of that, and just continuing that, and taking those relationships and expanding out into the community, just to make First American a household name. And people look at us and say, hey, what's special about you guys? You're part of a family.
The experts at Hood Dental Care want you smiling bigger and healthier than ever. New patients can get a healthy gums cleaning for just $89, plus a free exam and full mouth x-rays. A $376 value. With over 3,000 five-star Google reviews, 5 local locations, and easy online scheduling with same-day care. Hood Dental makes it simple to get started. And we always have other great giveaways for new patients. Check out hooddentalcare.com and schedule your appointment today.
Bayou Ford has 0% APR with no payments for 90 days and $1,000 down payment assistance on select 2026 Ford models.
Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Are you ready for an internet experience that actually keeps up with you? Then you're ready to step into a new kind of reliability with Rev Fiber. When your internet works, the possibilities open up, and suddenly everything feels more connected, just the way it should be. Seamless enough to keep up with every swipe and every click, anywhere you are. So leave the buffering behind. 100% fiber, 0% runaround, where support is still personal. Rev Fiber. Visit revfiber.com.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience?
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Let me tell you about my friends at Marucci. Become a member at the Hitter's House. You got a youth baseball or softball player in your house. It's football season. Summer baseball's in the rearview mirror. No fall ball for some folks, but maybe that baseball season has wound down, but you still want to keep them engaged. Well, become a member of the Hitter's House. 24/7 access to those cages, to that development facility if you're a member. So if you want to keep working in the fall with your youth baseball or softball player, become a member at the Hitter's House. You can also take a tour, learn in how Marucci became the official bat of Major League Baseball. See where they make 1,200 of those bats every single day and ship them off to the best players in the world. What a gem we've got here in Baton Rouge to have the official bat of Major League Baseball here. It's Marucci. Check them out online at maruccisports.com. All right, y'all. It's time now to get into my predictions for LSU for the season. I, of course, reserve the right to change my picks week to week as I observe the team. But this is my thought heading into the season on where this team is relative to its schedule, its opponents, spots on the schedule, and whatnot. I wrote this for LouisianaSports.net, so you can read it in print form there if you'd like. I'll probably go into a little bit more detail here because I got 15 minutes to talk instead of a column to write that you're scrolling through on your phone and don't want to go for an hour on. So it's all there on LouisianaSports.net. But let's get into it. It starts with Clemson next week. I talked about it in the first hour. I talked about it, 20 minutes ago. The vibes around Clemson stink right now. And it's at quarterback, it's in talent, it's disappointment with the head coach. Like last year at this time, people thought Clemson coming off a playoff bid was a legitimate national championship threat. I thought that. And they certainly weren't. And it doesn't feel to anyone that they've gotten significantly better. So I think LSU's going to win the game next week, and they'll start 1-0. It's going to be an incredible environment. Game day here. All the pomp and circumstance around Lane Kiffin and all the legal issues and big brand coming in, opening weekend, Saturday night in Death Valley. But LSU wins to go 1-0. Tech is the second week. Tech actually hung in with LSU last year, if you don't recall that. I do, because Myers wants to watch that highlight tape on TV 900 million times, and he looks at me and says, Dad, can we watch the Tigers and the Bulldogs that run out? Because the first clip of the YouTube video is the Tigers running out and the Bulldogs running out. I've seen it a lot. I know every word that's said on that highlight tape. But Tech held LSU to 23 points last year. They will not this year, and LSU will be 2-0. Then you got the trip to Oxford, right? Going to be an absolute circus. Game day's there. Going to be a record crowd at Vaught-Hemingway. It's going to be a tough environment for LSU to play. And I realize there are LSU fans that go, I mean, how many does that stadium fit? Like 55,000? That's child's play. I promise, 55,000 people screaming is going to be loud. It's going to be a tough place for LSU to go play. So you look at the matchup, and where are my perceived weaknesses potentially for LSU? Well, I'm not completely confident in the offensive line. And Ole Miss has an excellent defensive front. Will Eccles is one of the best players in the country on the defensive line. I also don't know about LSU defensive tackle, right? Because you got 2 freshmen in there, and that's your run stopping. And Ole Miss runs the ball pretty good, right? With Kewan Lacey. Now, Lane Kiffin knows a lot about Pete Golding. LSU's talent level is probably a little bit better than Ole Miss's. I think it's a close game. I really do. But I think Ole Miss is equipped to deal with LSU's weaknesses, and one of those for Blake Baker's been rushing quarterbacks, and Trinidad Chambliss is certainly that. I think Ole Miss wins the game. I know that's going to make everybody really angry, but it's on the road. It's a huge revenge spot, even though Ole Miss beat LSU last year because of Kiffin. And I think Ole Miss is positioned to take advantage of some of LSU's weaknesses. So I got Ole Miss winning that game, so LSU is then 2-1. You come back home, and it's going to be an emotional spot for LSU to get back up, even if you've won or lost the week before. Weird spot, but it is Saturday night in Death Valley. It is Texas A&M. Marcel Reed has toyed with Blake Baker's defense for 2 years. He doesn't toy with anyone else. He can't get a first down against Texas. Awful performance against Miami. But he crushes Blake Baker's defense. Texas A&M's retooling their entire offensive line. Can they come in and empty Tiger Stadium again? I don't think so. I think LSU beats A&M, responds, and moves to 3-1. McNeese is the next week. Complete waste of time. LSU is 4-1 as they move to October the 10th. That's a trip to Lexington, Kentucky. I really don't know what Will Stein's team is going to look like at Kentucky. I don't have a good feel for that. I had a great feel for what a Mark Stoops team would look like. They would be physical on defense, pretty disciplined on defense, lacking at the skill positions, and atrocious at quarterback. That was the Mark Stoops blueprint. But I don't know about Will Stein. Bringing in Minchie from Notre Dame as the quarterback. LSU's coming off a pseudo-bye playing against McNeese. I think LSU's way more talented than Kentucky. I think you go on the road to Lexington, win that game. So at that point, you've beaten Clemson, Tech, A&M, McNeese, and Kentucky. You are 5-1 with a loss to Ole Miss. Come back home. You're playing Mississippi State. This Mississippi State defense, 2 years ago, ranked 16th in the SEC. That's last. Last year was 15th. Levy has not been able to field a quality defense yet. And they certainly have not stopped Ole Miss yet. Now, he's got Kamario Taylor at quarterback who can make some plays, and it is a morning game in Tiger Stadium, which is weird. But I got LSU way out talenting Mississippi State in what will be the closing days of Jeff Levy's time in Starkville, I think. So you move to 6-1. Now you go to Auburn. Tricky spot for both teams here in this trip to Auburn. Auburn will be coming off a trip to Georgia. That's going to be physical. That's going to be tough. They're probably going to lose that game. LSU will be playing its 8th straight week. This is not a double bye year. So you're playing your 8th straight game. You go to Jordan-Hare. You're playing in the morning. And what's giving Blake Baker some problems? Mobile quarterbacks. Well, let me tell you this. Byron Brown is mobile, and he's physical, and he is a load to bring down. Byron Brown is going to run for a lot of yards this year. I don't know if Auburn's going to be good or not. Bring in Alex Golish. You still got DJ Durkin on defense where they got some continuity. But it's the 8th straight week for LSU. It's on the road, and they got a quarterback that can really run. And that stadium's going to be full. Auburn and South Carolina, those two programs will fill that stadium if they are good or they are terrible. It's really admirable. You can go to Gainesville when they got a 500 record. There's nobody there. I've been in Tiger Stadium when LSU's out of the playoff mix. Not a great environment in the third quarter. Auburn and South Carolina show up. I think it's a tough spot for LSU in their 8th straight week with Alabama and Texas looming after the bye week. I think Auburn gets LSU in that spot. Not one's going to be popular around here. I get it. You're an idiot. Auburn's been terrible. South Florida's quarterback. I think it's a weird spot. on the road, 8th straight week. I got Auburn winning that game. So you got a bye week. Then it's Alabama. You're 6-2. You still got your chances to make the playoff, but you're going to have to sweep through a rugged November. Now, Blake Baker stymied the Ty Simpson offense last year. LSU just didn't do anything on offense, so LSU didn't win the game. But he held that Ty Simpson offense down when he couldn't hold the Jalen Milroe offense down. So what does Keelan Russell bring? By November, I'm not sure. Talent, but production, we'll see. We talked yesterday to Connor O'Gara, who said he thought they would struggle to run the football. That's going to be an electric environment in Tiger Stadium at night. Freshman quarterback, Keelan Russell. Give me LSU to beat Alabama in Tiger Stadium on November the 7th, coming off the bye. Now, that brings up Texas, another absolute madhouse in that stadium. LSU 7-2, just beat Alabama. Weather's cooled off. Texas coming to town. They're supposed to come in 2020. COVID screwed it up. Now they're here. Arch Manning, Cam Coleman, Colin Simmons, Trevor Gooseby, bunch of top first-round picks. Most talented team maybe on LSU's schedule. I just don't think LSU is going to sweep Alabama and Texas. That's where I am. It would surprise me a little bit if LSU swept those two teams inside Tiger Stadium in back-to-back weeks. So I've got Texas handing LSU the third loss. Now that could be an inflection point. Because if you lose that game and it's your third loss, you got to go to Knoxville without a playoff spot potentially on the line. Now, you may be able to convince yourself that you've got a potential playoff spot because you've got a really tough schedule. And keep in mind that you are, in this instance, 7-3, and you've got a win over Clemson, you've got a win over A&M, you've got a win over Bama. So maybe you still think you're in the mix because you've got good wins against a tough schedule. You better go to Knoxville and win. I don't know what Faison Brandon is. I'd rather play him in September than November. But he's a talented freshman quarterback in a offense that's been playing at warp speed. Those two teams are going to go fast. All I can promise you about that game in Knoxville, it's going to go fast. And I think LSU makes one more play on defense and beats Tennessee on the road in Neyland on November 21st, and that moves LSU to 8-3. You go to Fayetteville at that point, maybe playing for a chance at a playoff bid. Because look, as I've laid out, you have a win over Tennessee on the road. You have a win over Alabama. You have a win over Texas A&M. You have a win over Clemson. That's 4 fairly good wins in terms of preseason prognostication. And then you go to Fayetteville. And I'll tell you this, by the time LSU gets to Fayetteville, it's going to be hunting season on Thanksgiving weekend, and the basketball is going to be dribbling at Bud Walton. And that is what's going to have Arkansas fans' attention because they're going to have one SEC win, no SEC wins at that point. It's going to be a sparse crowd for a morning kickoff after Thanksgiving, and I think LSU beats the tar out of Arkansas because I think Arkansas has very little talent. That's 9-3, and it could be a 9-3 that gives you a potential playoff spot, but we know that the selection committee probably doesn't like Lane Kiffin, and we know that they may be playing players the selection committee deems to be ineligible. So I know that's not going to give anybody the warm and fuzzies with that 9-3, but you consider the wins on that ledger for a 9-3 schedule. Man, that's a compelling case for a back end of the playoff bid. To win that many big games, and it just suggests how difficult this is going to be to navigate, not just this year, but year in and year out. Because all those teams rotate off to an extent, not A&M, not Ole Miss next year, but like you're rolling Georgia on, you're rolling Oklahoma on, you're rolling Florida on. Like it just doesn't get a ton easier. So every year, you're going to have to fight and scrap and claw to get to that 10-2 mark. And maybe, that's a resume that would be worthy of discussion at the very least because your losses are not brutal. It's at Auburn, it's at Ole Miss, and it's Texas. It's not like Ole Miss lost to Kentucky 2 years ago. That was my thing. Like, yeah, you're 9-3, but you lost to Kentucky. They were 1-8, 1-7 that year in the league. This doesn't have a huge blemish on it, unless you think Auburn's just going to be awful. So we'll see. It's a hard schedule. If they get to 10-2, that's a whale of a job. But it's not that hard to get them to 8-4. It's a tough league. It's a tough league. But that's my story, and I don't have to stick to it. I'll probably pick LSU to beat Clemson a week from now. But beyond that, I get to see some stuff and determine how I'm going to adjust those picks as we move forward. I do believe that LSU is a fringe playoff team, and that's right where I put them in that game by game. Want to read about more? You can check it out at louisianasports.net. We're brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish, and Shrimp. We'll hear from some LSU players when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Vaughn and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Maybe you've got one of those big jacuzzi-style tubs from the 90s. They were all the rage back then, right? Well, it's 2026, so that was 30 years ago. If it doesn't work anymore, or you don't use it, or it's just taking up space, or it's dingy, well, get rid of it. Look how much space that's taking in your bathroom. Wouldn't it be better used to be a walk-in shower? Turn it into that with David Vaughn, One Bath and Closet. He's been doing this for more than 30 years. So let him turn that big old jacuzzi into a walk-in shower. And if you already got a shower, he can turn that into a linen closet because it's One Bath and Closets. Get that free consultation with David. That doesn't cost you anything to sit down with David and talk about it. It's One Bath and Closets. Check him out online, OneBathAndClosets.com.
Every ounce of Raising Cane's lemonade has been hand-squeezed that day from fresh lemons before being served over our signature crushed ice. Because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Eagle 98.1, the rock station. Home of the Woody Show in the morning. Scotty Mack with Rock at Work. Michelle Southern with Southern Rock. Home of LSU sports since 1998. And rock for Baton Rouge since 1985. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. To join our VIP fan club, text ROCK to 225-499-9898. Eagle 98.1, the rock station.
I'm lawyer Collins Locke Meredith. Among the most important factors to consider when you're hiring an injury attorney is trust. You trust your attorney will put your interest first, treat you with respect, fairness, and honesty. You trust them to be there for you when you need them. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, thousands of clients have trusted us to represent them, and for good reasons. Please visit us at LockeMeredith.com to learn more, and whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said,
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
You ever get a hankering for a shrimp po' boy? Corks, that's your spot. Awesome fried shrimp po' boy, fantastic catfish po' boy. I'm a bigger fan of the shrimp po' boy. I find it's a better bite. I love fried catfish, and I've gotten fried catfish from Corks many, many times. It's excellent. But I like the shrimp po' boy. You can check that out. And if you got a tailgate coming up or a watch party coming up, whether that's for a high school game where you're feeding some folks in the parking lot before the game, maybe it's for the LSU Clemson game next week, you got a big tailgate, or maybe you got a watch party coming up for LSU and Clemson, and you want to feed in bulk and you don't want to cook, Corks can help you. They're awesome at catering. Big trays of jumbo shrimp straight from the Gulf. You got crispy fried catfish, shoestring fries, get those honey butter rolls for a little sweetness at the end. It's great, great stuff. So check them out, Government Between Foster and Jefferson. If you got a tailgate coming up, contact the folks at Corks. They're more than happy to help you out. I'm getting cooked in the comments, Jordan. Cooked in the comments. They don't like the picks. They think Vaught Hemingway's a joke, as I projected they would say. They think LSU's going to go undefeated, I think.
And that's just ridiculous. A lot of people, because a lot of people are like, oh, LSU national championship or bust. And I'm like, in the first year, though,
one guy makes a good point. I did think the LSU baseball team would be good last year, and they were terrible, so he doesn't respect anything I say. And that's a perfectly reasonable thing to say, because I did think they would be pretty good, and they went 9-21 in the league.
Well,
that was not good.
I would tell them, y'all come up here and give predictions and just let you know. Yeah, I'm about to say, let's just see how it happens. Let's when the smoke clears, let's see who's really here.
I'm here. And so is PJ Woodland, and so is Trey Wilson. Let's hear from some of LSU's players earlier this week that met with the media. PJ Woodland started the conversation. Of course, LSU's junior cornerback, who's going to be really a big key to this LSU defense across from DJ Pickett. He talked about the next step for the defense under Blake Baker that's improved each of the last 2 years.
I can say the next step for us is just, always finishing, the little things. So, for instance, if the players on the other side of the field, taking those extra 3 hard steps just to get your feet moving, just little things like that, just to always finish.
Attention to detail for Blake Baker's defense that I think is going to be really good. I'm going to have a prediction column out for LouisianaSports.net tomorrow with 3 bold predictions, and I'm tinkering around with a few of them, and one of them is that LSU is going to be a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense in the SEC, which only one team did last year. That was Texas A&M. But the details are what have got to be cleaned up for Blake Baker's team. And we saw some of that on film last year with guys losing their eyes and not paying attention to what quarterbacks were doing and letting them get out the pack with Diego Pavia and obviously Marcel Reed as well. It's just details they've got to clean up for sure. Also, PJ Woodland was talking about facing this group of LSU wide receivers. There are a lot of them.
I go against, Trey and Jackson a lot. Sometimes I'm in the slot, I go against, winning them. But those guys are always competitive. We always give each other a competitive edge each and every day at practice. We just got out of camp, but we've always competed. Yes, sir.
So it sounds like you're looking at Jace and Jackson Harris, Trey Wilson on the outside. You're looking at Winnie Watkins on the inside. Obviously, that's kind of the way they've been lining up, and P.J. Woodland moves around and plays against all of those guys. Trey Wilson's one of the ones he mentioned in that bite, and Trey Wilson talked about how he would describe LSU's wide receiver group.
Yeah, just a bunch of guys going to do what they love every day. And, we done grab guys across the whole country that can go out there and ball, make plays. And, everybody brings their own type of talent and, skill to the team. And, it's going to be a fun show to watch for sure.
I'm hoping so. It is a diverse set of skills. There's no question. A lot of has been made about the fact that we don't think LSU has a surefire top 40 draft pick there, a Biletnikoff finalist. Like, that's been said over and over again by me and a lot of other people that are breaking down this team. But they've got a lot of guys that do a lot of different things. Looking for size, you got some of that with Jackson Harris. You got some of that with Malik Elzy. You got some of that with Roman Mothershed. I don't think Elzy and Mothershed are going to play big roles, but Harris certainly will, and Trey Green offers that size. You're looking for quickness in the slot. You got that in spades with Trey Wilson. You got that with Winnie Watkins as well. You want smooth route running and proven production. You got that in Jace Brown, no question about that. You've got a lot of guys that can really play, and Trey Wilson spoke about that and then talked about him specifically in his first offseason here with LSU as he had so many injury problems at Florida.
Oh, it's been a great offseason. Taking every day for what it is and stacking every day, not taking anything for granted. It's an opportunity every day for an investment in yourself and your team. So, and as far as like the connection with Sam, we was both coming back from injuries and all that. So like just building that connection off the field before we was able to get together on the field, that was a big part of it for sure.
That was an interesting bite when I wrote about that at LouisianaSports.net today, where you never want to be in the training room, but Trey Wilson has had hip injuries, knee injuries, foot injuries that have cost him time at Florida, and he spends a lot of time in the training room. And obviously Sam Levitt was coming off that Liz Frank injury, and they kind of bonded in the training room. It's not the place you'd like to bond. You like to do that on the practice field, but those guys spend a lot of time in the training room together and have formed a really good bond. And I think Trey Wilson is a guy that I've moved towards the top of my wide receiver list. I think Jace Brown and Trey Wilson are right there at the top. Jackson Harris is with him, so is Winnie Watkins. That's kind of my top 4. I talked about that earlier this week. Trey Wilson's absolutely in that, and he elaborated more on what he's done with Sam Levitt and his relationship with the Tiger quarterback.
I say, like, it's been really good, especially, like, talking to Sam. he's played a lot of football, and he's one of like the smartest guys I've met as far as being football smart and all that. He done taught me a lot off the field and on the field, and he done kind of brought a new perspective to me as far as playing receiver, like being able to see and have a different feel, finding different holes that I may not be looking at him, but I know he see the same thing I be seeing. So it's just like a great chemistry that's building between me and him and the rest of the receivers.
So with that bite and with some of the things we've heard, y'all know how I feel about press conferences on the whole. A lot of cliches, a lot of coach speak. Everybody's awesome. The other team's awesome. My teammates are awesome. Like, there's a lot of empty talk in press conferences. My job's to parse through that, see what is relevant and what is fluff. And what I'll tell you is I knew Sam Leavitt's skill set from watching him play at Arizona State, watching YouTube highlights. You can tell what kind of player Sam Leavitt is, what his strengths are when you check out what he does as a starting quarterback at Arizona State. What I didn't know or have any real gauge on is, like, what is Sam Leavitt like as a leader of a football team? And I don't know because I'm not there. But a lot of people have talked about it. And Lane Kiffin has praised him as a grinder and a football guy. Leavitt spoke about how much film he watches and that he's been grinding. He used that word like 6 times in his press conference last week. And then you hear Trey Wilson talk about, hey, this guy is really smart, really football smart. He's helped me grow as a receiver. And keep in mind, Trey Wilson's already played 3 years of SEC football. Like, he's seen a lot. And I still think Billy Napier's a pretty good football coach. He didn't do a great job at Florida. I don't think they got the talent in that they needed, and certainly got fired. But, like, he's been under a fairly good coaching staff, and he's learning stuff from Sam Leavitt, who's teaching him some things in route running, some things in offense. And I hear all of those things, and it just makes me think that LSU's got a guy in charge that knows what he's doing, leading a football team, and is doing the right things. It doesn't mean he's going to play awesome. Doesn't mean he's going to throw 4 touchdowns against Clemson or that he's going to be a Heisman finalist. It just means the impression that he's made on this football program early on in his time here, and it's going to be a quick time, the impression he's made has been a positive one that appears to be heavy on work, heavy on leadership, and heavy on knowledge about how to play the position and how to play. And Trey Wilson, kind of lauded him for that in his press conference earlier this week. So again, Garrett Nussmeier was a guy that watched tape. Garrett Nussmeier was a guy that wore 18 and had a leadership role in the team. And yeah, he was hurt last year, but the thing is, I'm not telling you that because Sam Leavitt is doing some things right and watching a lot of tape that LSU's on easy street here. What I'm telling you is I like what I'm hearing. And I think when you hear something 4, 5, 6 times from different people, it stands to reason it's probably true. And what's probably true is that Sam Leavitt's working really hard, has a good grasp of football, and is really leading this team as the quarterback. And obviously that's a very, very positive thing for LSU. So PJ Woodland's gotten a chance to go against these guys. Trey Wilson's got a chance to watch these guys. I think LSU's wide receiving core is going to be good. I don't think it's going to be great. It's not Neighbors and Thomas. It's not Chase and Jefferson. It's not Beckham and Landry. It's not Reed and Clayton. But I think they've got an assembly of guys that can do the things that Lane Kiffin needs. Lane Kiffin did not have a first-round pick at wide receiver when he was at Ole Miss. Now, last year, Stribling went in as the first pick of the second round, so I'm not going to completely omit that and give some sort of misleading comment. Oh, no first-round receivers. He was the 33rd pick in the draft. But he didn't have a first-round receiver. That is true. Didn't have a Blitnikoff winner, and outside of Trey Harris, who was going to have a monster year in 2024 before he got hurt, and I think he missed 5 games that year. They spread the ball around a lot at Ole Miss, and I think they'll probably do a lot of that with LSU this year. And Trey Wilson will be a big part of that. I'm excited to watch those guys play against Clemson coming up a week from tomorrow. We're almost there, y'all. 1 segment to go. We'll pause for the weekend. We'll come back on Monday. It'll be game week. Let's get out of here next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Our friends at Ochsner have just been so helpful when it comes to back to school. They want to make sure that everyone is set up for success in this new school year. If you got student athletes under your house, make sure they're prepared with annual sports physicals, proper hydration, stretching, getting the right rest, and of course, that protective equipment. If you need that physical, they can help you with that over at Ochsner. If you need same-day appointment availability at many of the locations, that can help families address unexpected health concerns quickly as kids return to school and the activities that come with them. They've got convenient access to primary and pediatric care that helps families stay on top of annual wellness visits, immunizations, sports physicals, routine health needs throughout the school year. If you need more tips helping your family start the school year healthy, safe, and ready to succeed, there's one place to go. It's www.ochsner.org/BR. That's ochsner.org/BR.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product's always customer satisfaction. Come visit us at reliefwindows.com. By the way, we do shutters too.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. No, the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers. Find the dealer nearest you at sunequip.com.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service and partner with only the best providers. So check them out online today at lainsurance.net.
I'm Billy Schmidt, and I've been with First American Bank for 13 years. I have a passion of getting to know customers, getting to know their journeys, getting to know their stories, and being a small part of that, and just continuing that, and taking those relationships and expanding out into the community, just to make First American a household name. And people look at us and say, hey, what's special about you guys? You're part of a family.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
When a capital project moves from planning to execution, downtime.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
I was asked, what are you doing this weekend earlier today? Nothing. I'm not doing anything this weekend because the rest of the weekends from now until June, I'm working. So that's okay. I have a great job. But LSU is going to play every weekend except one from now through December. And that one, I'm flying out, so that will be vacation weekend. But then by the time football ends, basketball's going to play every Saturday. And by the time basketball ends, baseball's playing every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So the long, dark offseason is over. And it was longer than most. And it still kind of feels like the offseason because we're talking about temporary restraining orders and temporary injunctions. Preliminary injunctions, I should say. Got my legalese just dialed up. But next week, we do get football in our part of the world, not Ireland. Reminder, as I said at the top of the show, maybe the top of the hour, on Monday, we will shift our programming a little bit. Same deal for Off the Bench. They'll be on 7 to 10. But Live at Lunch will start 10 and go to noon. At noon, we'll toss things to campus. Chris Blair, Gordy Rush for the Lane Kiffin press conference. You'll hear Lane Kiffin in his entirety. Go to break. I will take over at about 12:45, and I'll take you to 3 o'clock for Matt with AFR. So on Monday and moving forward, we will have live and local coverage from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. and that means Live at Lunch moves to 10 a.m. leading into the Lane Kiffin press conference at noon. So just want to let you know what's going to go on Monday, and we'll be full steam ahead for LSU and Clemson. Right now, we got to do one more order of business. Take it or leave it for the weekend.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, so Ian Rappaport with NFL Network has reported that Tua play has made it impossible to name him a starting quarterback. And I quote, "It really seems that the goal of the entire organization was to have Tua be the starting quarterback right away to start the season." Rappaport said, "Let Penix come along slowly, maybe be inactive for the first several games till he's fully healthy to come on the field." Well, Tua play has made that impossible, not just in the preseason, but we have seen sounds like practice as well. All of this to say is that Michael Penix is still in the hunt for QB1. So is Tua losing a QB battle to a guy that's not even playing? Take it or leave it.
I mean, I guess I got to take it. That's what the report is. Why are you smiling over there, Jordan?
I can't help
What's
myself.
Going on over there? That's not very nice.
I'm sorry. Look.
Very nice.
When you get good news, you smile.
Trying to find a quarterback. Be nice to the Falcons. They lost a Super Bowl lead that's 25 points.
Well, Hunt, maybe I should taper my expectations and actually want Tua to be successful, because I don't want to have Michael Penix get that start against the Saints. Maybe.
What's the Falcons' record going to be? 17 games.
Ooh, Lord, I say under 7 wins. So whatever the math is with that, maybe 6 wins. Yeah, 6-11.
That's not going to get to the playoffs.
Oh, not even close. But I hate to say, I think one of those wins will be against the Saints. So,
Jordan
y'all
going
heard
to
it.
the weekend on a downer. Yeah. I'm picking LSU 9-3. Jordan says the Falcons are going to crush the Saints in the dome.
Oh, hey, one win, y'all.
He said the Falcons are coming to the dome and winning by 30. That's what he said.
Not on Monday Night Football, not that one.
It's a direct quote.
Oh, listen, guys, run the tapes back. Run the tapes back. So the 2026 college football season is already off to a historical start as Louisiana Christian University became the first NAIA team to defeat a Division I program, as Louisiana Christian stunned the Northwest State Demon Deacons 42-37 on Thursday night. LCU has fewer than 1,000 undergraduate students compared to 5,000 for Northwestern State. So is this the omen that this will be a great college football season? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. Sure, it'll be a great season. I don't know how much it has to do with the fact that Northwestern State sucks at football. They've sucked at football for a long time. Losing to Louisiana Christian, which I believe is the old Louisiana College from Alexandria.
Yes.
That's a tough look for the Demons. I enjoyed my time at Northwestern basketball camp as a high schooler. Coach McConaughey, shout out, won in a tournament game in 2006 against Iowa. Their football program, not good. Turpin Stadium.
Yes, Turpin Stadium, yes.
Turchin Stadium, Tulane Baseball, Turpin Stadium, Northwestern
Harry
State.
Turpin
Shout
Stadium.
out McGee's, good restaurant right off campus in Natchitoches.
Well, it looks like they're going to be having a lot of time if this is how the season's going to be going. So the Missouri Tigers has officially claimed its first college football national championship, the school announced, as the Tigers' 1960 team won the Big Eight. Yeah, the Big Eight, and appeared as the #1 team in the AP poll. So claiming national championships, take it or leave it.
Leave it. That means you're a loser.
Yes.
The point of winning a national championship is not to retroactively give it 50, 60, 70 years later.
Yes.
The point is being there when you win the national championship.
100%.
So, no, that's ridiculous. You look dumb doing that. Don't do it.
So do you think that they're going to have like a whole ceremony for the 1960 team now?
Let's just be kind here. They would have been born in 1940.
Yeah. They're
so
still
you're
alive.
talking about 86 years old or so.
Gotta be.
If we got to honor the 86-year-olds with their title, and I'm thinking no face mask at that point, right?
Dude, like one bar.
In the 60s, we had face masks.
Yeah, like one bar.
60s, we had face masks. I mean, what are we doing? Missouri? Is this Missouri?
Missouri Tigers, yes. Mizzou.
Kick them out of the league. I feel every time we talk about Missouri, I feel like that Happy Gilmore line was like, you got to kick them off the tour. You got to kick them out of the league. They're not bringing anything except fake national championships. Ugly uniforms, dumb football stadium, atrocious baseball. Can't win at basketball. Went 0-18 a couple of years ago.
Oh, my goodness.
Get them out.
0-18 is crazy. So, last but not least, a Scottish man has been jailed after stealing 50,000 euros from his father and blowing the money on sausage rolls, alcohol, gambling, and adult entertainment.
Wow.
Stephen Dwyer, 31, stole the equivalent of roughly roughly $67,000 So that's equivalent from his father over a 3-year period. As he's now been sentenced to 2 years in prison after admitting carrying out the fraudulent scheme. So blowing $67,000 on sausage and gambling. Take it or leave it.
I mean, I'm going to leave it, but
Okay.
look,
Leave it alone.
That's not the story. Did Dad press charges?
Yeah, I mean, it's 67,000.
I don't. That's it. I mean,
It's
it's a father's love and mother's love. You gotta just look the other way, turn the other cheek. It's just $67,000.
Well, Hunt, I can do that, but on, sausage rolls and alcohol.
Here's
gambling.
the deal. So we are going to Europe for the bye weekend. My wife and I, 5th anniversary trip.
Yes.
I've been looking up food in the 2 cities we're going to, and London's one of them. They got sausage rolls. They look pretty good.
Okay.
We're going to the market. I'm having a sausage roll. I'm excited about that. It's like sausage and like a croissant type thing. It looks great.
All right, that's your review. That's your homework. You got to give us a review when you come back on the
Borough
sausage
Market,
roll.
we're gonna get the sausage roll. I'm excited about getting that. I'm excited about getting the sandwich that looks awesome there.
Okay.
I've watched a lot of Instagram reels on European foods.
What'd I say for take it or leave it?
That's it for us this week. I'm looking forward to that sausage roll. Meat and bread. It's a good combo. I'm excited about that.
As long as you ain't stealing from your dad.
I'm excited. I'm gonna extort my father for sausage and strippers is what it sounds like what's going on there. All right, so that's it for us. You missed any of the show today? Some legal talk, some LSU football talk. Check it out at Hunt Palmer Show, wherever you find your sound. Hunt on LSU, Hunt on Saints. We're back Monday, and guess what? It's game week. Have a great and safe weekend. Matt's going to drive home next on AFR. We're back Monday.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First, let me tell you about First American Bank and Trust. FABT.com is the website, FABT.com, which you can go to that, but why don't you just go check out First American Bank and Trust's 25 branches. There's one near you if you're in Southeast Louisiana. Whether you're up I-12 in St. Tammany or Tangipahoa, maybe down the bayou, St. John, Lafourche, maybe you're in Metairie, just outside Baton Rouge, Dutchtown, Jones Creek. There's a First American Bank and Trust near you. Every decision that is made at First American Bank and Trust is made locally. You call First American Bank and Trust, you get someone in Southeast Louisiana. It's not somebody in San Francisco. It's not someone in Atlanta. It's not somebody in Manhattan. It's someone here. Every decision that's made at First American Bank and Trust is made locally. Talking about a commercial loan, talking about a personal loan, you want someone making those decisions that looks at you at a line item or as part of your community. That's the local difference. It's not small. 25 locations. They've got the assets to help you out. It's First American Bank and Trust. 25 locations in Southeast Louisiana. Check them out online. FABT.com.
Bayou Ford has 0%